The Mermaid by Jan Brett. Under the sea, an octopus family got ready for a swim before breakfast. "Time to put on your new hat, baby," said Akasan. Baby did not like the floppy new hat. The hat was not happy either. As the octopus family set off behind their house, a little mermaid spotted their front door. Kiniro had been drifting in a warm current with her pufferfish friend. "Take care," Puffy warned. "You never know who may live there." "But I'm so curious," she said. Kiniro sashayed toward the seashell house. Inside, breakfast had been set out. There was a great big shell, a middle-sized shell, and a little shell. Kiniro took a bite from the great big shell. "Too crunchy," she said. The little mermaid tried the tender bites in the middle-sized shell. "Too slimy," she said. Puffy could guess what was coming next. Kiniro sidled up to the little shell. In a minute, the tempting tidbit had disappeared. "Just right," she said. "All gone," said Puffy, as he wondered whose breakfast it really was. Kiniro floated around the seashell house and saw 3 chairs. There was a big chair, a middle-sized chair, and a little chair. She sat down on the large coral chair. "Too many bumps," she said as she smoothed her scales. Kiniro wriggled into the middle-sized chair. Down she went. "This chair is too slippery," she gasped. The little chair was the prettiest of all, and Kiniro sat on it. "Just right," she said, and she gave her fins a flipperty flip. All that wiggling broke the chair into bits. Kiniro was sorry about the pretty chair, but not for long, because in the next room she spotted 3 beds. She and Puffy had been swimming for hours and were ready for a nap. She swam over and settled in. "What sweet dreams we'll have," she told her friend. "But someone has been eating in that bed, and there were smashed shells and crab claws all around. This bed is too messy." She flopped down on the middle-sized bed. "This bed is too squishy," she complained. As Kiniro patted her tiara, she spied the last small bed. It rocked like a cradle in the tide. She set her head down on a pillow star and fell sound asleep. Soon the octopus family returned over the sandy shoals. Right away, Oto-san saw his breakfast shell overturned. "Someone has been crunching on my crustaceans," he said, turning pink. Aka-san huffed. "My breakfast has been splashed." She turned pinkish too. Baby looked around for her breakfast, but all she saw was the upside-down shell. "Someone has been eating my breakfast, and there is nothing left for me," she cried. Oto-san saw that his coral chair looked different. "Someone has been sitting on my chair," he announced, now even redder. Aka-san went from pink to red when she saw her chair. "Who has been squashing my chair and scattering my teacups?" she said. Baby saw her beautiful chair all in pieces. The hermit crabs were taking it. "My chair is gone," she cried. Sensing something else was amiss, Oto-san squeezed into the bedroom. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed." He blasted ocean water and kicked up the star-shaped sand. Puffy felt the ripples as Aka-san jetted toward her bed. The soft seaweed she liked to drowse in was tangled and torn. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed," she said. Baby octopus peeked inside her tiny bed and saw a beautiful mermaid. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed, and here she is." The little mermaid opened her eyes. The adorable baby's eyes were soft and sweet. Her skin was shell pink, her graceful arms danced, but she was wearing the oddest hat the little mermaid had ever seen. Kiniro, who didn't like to see anyone unhappy, gasped. "That will not do." She thought about her tiara and had an idea. Just then, all 3 octopuses reached for Kiniro with their 24 arms. Puffy was ready. He puffed with all his might. Puffa, puffa, pokety-poke, stickety-stick. His sharp prickles did not let the octopuses near the little mermaid. Kinero had just enough time to leave her gift before she darted away. Kinero, Puffy, and their new friend Eagle Ray swam away from the seashell house. They couldn't stop smiling about Baby Octopus's crowning gift. She looked radiant in her beautiful new tiara. Good morning, first grade. Today we're going to talk about comparing and contrasting. When it comes to comparing and contrasting stories, this is something that we've done before. When we read all those different stories of Little Red Riding Hood, we were comparing and contrasting. When we compare two things, we're looking for similarities. So we're looking for things that are the same or similar. When we're contrasting two things, we're looking for the ways that they are different. So remember when we did our little Venn diagram flip book and you had a Little Red Riding Hood one and we talked about the Little Red Riding Hood, and then we talked about the one with the hungry lion, that Little Red Riding Hood story. This is the same because this Little Mermaid book, The Mermaid, what is it similar to? What fairy tale is it similar to? There was 3 octopuses, and there was a big one and a medium-sized one and a small one, and they had breakfast and they had chairs and they had beds that they slept in, and then the Little Mermaid was caught sleeping in the bed. Yes, it's called Goldilocks and the Three Little Bears. That's very similar to our story today, The Mermaid. So today we're going to be comparing and contrasting Goldilocks and the Three Bears and The Mermaid. So we're thinking about some things that are the same and some things that are different. So you'll have a page on the next slide where you can write some things that are the same about both stories and some things that are different about both stories. If you haven't read the story Goldilocks and the Three Little Bears, or you just haven't read it recently and you would like to watch it, I'll make a link on the next slide as well so you can watch someone else read that story so you can compare and contrast, okay?